Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the harder you try with a girl, the more you text, call, and plan, the more she seems to pull away? It's like the more effort you put in, the less it works. Frustrating, isn't it? The problem isn't that you're trying, it's that you're trying too much. I've been there, and I can tell you the game changer isn't chasing harder, it's pulling back. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But giving her some space might just be the most powerful move you ever make. When you push too hard, she pulls away. Relationships are like a dance, they have rhythm. If you push too hard, the natural response is for her to step back. It's not personal, it's just human nature. Imagine you're at a party and someone aggressively tries to sell you something, talking non-stop and getting in your face. The more they push, the less interested you become. Relationships are no different. Overcompensating by texting constantly or always being available can feel like you're forcing a connection. It doesn't give her the chance to lean in or miss you. Instead, step back, focus on yourself, hit the gym, spend time with friends, dive into your passions. By doing this, you restore balance and let her move toward you. Being too available can backfire. Think about why diamonds are valuable. They're rare. The same goes for limited edition sneakers. They sell out because they're not everywhere. We value what feels exclusive. But when you're always available, texting first and dropping everything to respond, it starts to feel like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And let's face it, nobody gets excited about a buffet. The key is to create a little scarcity. Don't always be the first to reach out. Let her initiate sometimes. And when she does, it's okay not to respond immediately. You're not playing games. You're respecting your own time and energy. When you prioritize yourself, your attention becomes something she values, a privilege, not something to take for granted. A little mystery keeps things exciting. Predictability is boring. Think about your favorite TV show. What keeps you hooked? The cliffhangers. That element of mystery makes you want to come back for more. Relationships are no different. If you share every detail of your day and every thought in your head right away, it takes away the fun of discovery. Hold back a little. Share something interesting, but don't reveal the entire story up front. For example, if you had an amazing weekend, tease her with a highlight. It was a wild time, I'll tell you about it later. Now she's curious, and curiosity keeps people engaged. Leave her wanting more. People remember unfinished things more than the ones that feel complete. Think about when a show ends on a cliffhanger. You can't stop thinking about what happens next. It's the same in conversations. If things are going well, don't drag it out until it fizzles. End it while the energy is high. For instance, if you're texting and the vibe is great, say, "Hey, I've got to run, but let's pick this up later." What happens? You leave her wanting more. She'll think about you and look forward to the next interaction. This isn't about playing games. It's about being smart. Stop while the energy is good, and you'll stay on her mind without even trying. The fear of loss is powerful. People don't realize how much they value something until they feel like they might lose it. When you give her some space, you're subtly showing her that your presence isn't a guarantee. You're not going to be there 24/7, and that's a good thing. Imagine you've had a couple of great dates, and then for a few days, you're genuinely busy, whether it's work, hitting the gym, or pursuing something you love. You're not ignoring her, you're just living your life. When you check back in, she's had time to miss you and appreciate the connection. This isn't about mind games, it's about creating healthy space that lets her see your value. Focus on your life first, not just her. Giving her space isn't just about her, it's about you. If you want a fulfilling relationship, you have to build a fulfilling life first. Focus on your goals, dive into your hobbies, and spend time with your friends. When you're passionate about your own world, you naturally become more attractive. Think about it. Someone who's constantly working on themselves, pursuing their dreams, and enjoying life has an energy that's magnetic. It's not because they're trying to be attractive, it's because they're genuinely living. So ask yourself, what lights you up? What have you been putting off? Maybe it's starting a passion project, hitting the gym consistently, or joining a new community. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, everything else, relationships included, falls into place. Giving her space isn't about playing hard to get. It's about building a connection based on respect, curiosity, and appreciation. When you focus on yourself, your passions, and your growth, you naturally become someone worth chasing. That's the secret. You don't need to chase her. When you step back, give space, and show up as the best version of yourself, she'll lean in. For the next week, prioritize you. Work on your goals, pursue your hobbies, and let her come to you. When she does, show up confident, self-assured, and ready to connect. Your superpower isn't chasing, it's being someone worth chasing. Own it. You know, it's funny how something as simple as giving someone space can completely flip the script in ways you'd never expect. It doesn't sound flashy, right? Space, silence, stepping back. But let me tell you, this is your secret weapon, your hidden superpower. And when you learn how to wield it, it changes everything. The dynamic shifts, the energy shifts, and suddenly the narrative isn't about her anymore. It's about you. Here's the thing. When you care about someone, when you're invested, it's natural to want to fix things, to reach out, to explain, to show her that you're still there, still willing, still trying. That's the instinct. And it feels like the right thing to do. Because isn't love about effort? Isn't it about showing up again and again, no matter what? Well, yes and no. Love is about effort, sure. But sometimes the biggest effort you can make is knowing when to stop trying. Giving her space isn't about apathy or indifference. It's about confidence. It's about understanding that you don't need to over-explain your worth or prove your value. It's already there. You're already enough. When you step back, you're sending a message, a quiet, powerful message. I care about you, but I care about myself too, and I'm not going to beg for a place in your life. Now I get it. That's hard. It's counterintuitive. Everything in you is screaming to do the opposite. Your mind is racing with thoughts like, what if she forgets about me? What if she moves on? What if this space only pushes her further away? But here's the truth. Space doesn't push someone further away. It gives them the chance to come closer. It allows them to feel the absence of your presence, to notice the void you leave behind. And that's when clarity begins to set in, for her and for you. Think of it like this. When you're constantly in someone's space, constantly trying to talk things out or fix things, you're like background noise. It's easy to tune out. But when you step back, when you go silent, you become noticeable. That silence is deafening. It's like turning off a fan in a quiet room. You don't realize how loud it was until it's gone. That's the effect your absence creates. And while you're giving her space, don't just sit around twiddling your thumbs. This is your moment. This is your time to focus on you. Because let's face it, you're not doing this just for her. You're doing it for yourself too. You're taking back your energy, your attention, your time, all those things you were pouring into someone else. And now you get to redirect it where it really belongs, into your own growth. Hit the gym, start that project you've been putting off, spend time with friends who make you feel alive, explore hobbies that excite you. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're investing in yourself. When you focus on leveling up your own life, you don't just distract yourself, you transform yourself. And here's the kicker. When she does think about you, and trust me, she will, she's not just going to see the old you. She's going to see the you that's thriving, glowing, moving forward. And that's magnetic. You see, giving her space isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about respect. Respect for her, yes, but also for yourself. When you step back, you're saying, I'm giving you the time and room to figure out what you want, and I'm giving myself the same gift. Because let's be real, sometimes we get so caught up in someone else's world that we lose sight of our own. Space helps you find your footing again. But let's talk about patience, because this isn't going to happen overnight. There will be moments when you're tempted to check her social media, to send a quick text, to remind her that you're still there. Don't. Resist. This isn't about winning her back in a week or proving a point. This is about the long game. This is about trusting that if something is meant to be, it will find its way back in the right time, in the right way. And here's the beautiful irony of giving her space. The less you try to pull her closer, the more she'll start to feel drawn to you. Why? Because humans are wired to value what feels scarce. When you were constantly there, she might have taken you for granted. But now, your absence makes her question things. It makes her wonder what you're doing, how you're feeling, if you're thinking about her. That curiosity is powerful. But remember, this isn't just about her. This is about you reclaiming your own narrative. It's about stepping into your own power and realizing that your worth isn't defined by whether or not she comes back. Whether she reaches out or doesn't, whether she realizes what she lost or not, that's secondary. The real victory is in how you rise during this time, how you grow, how you rebuild. And let's be real, if and when she does reach out, you'll be in a completely different headspace. You won't be the same person who was desperate for answers or closure. You'll be someone who knows their worth, someone who has found peace within themselves. And at that point, the question isn't, will she come back? It's, do I even want her back? Giving her space is also about mastering the art of emotional self-control. Let's face it, when you walk away or step back, there's a whirlwind of emotions that can hit you like a ton of bricks. You might feel angry, hurt, frustrated, or even scared. But the true power lies in not letting those emotions dictate your actions. It's about sitting with them, processing them, and then channeling them into something productive. When you can do that, you're not just giving her space, you're showing emotional maturity. And trust me, that kind of self-control is incredibly attractive, not just to her but to anyone in your life. It radiates strength. Another thing to remember is that space doesn't just create room for her to think. It creates room for you to gain clarity too. When you're caught up in a situation, emotions cloud your judgment. But when you step back, you give yourself the chance to see things more objectively. Maybe you start noticing patterns in the relationship that you hadn't fully acknowledged before. Maybe you realize that some of the things you were holding on to weren't really serving you. Space is like a mental detox. It clears the air so you can think straight and focus on what truly matters. Let's talk about the impact of unpredictability for a moment. When you give someone space, you break the routine they've come to expect from you. If you were always the one to initiate conversations, always the one to apologize first, or always the one to try to fix things, pulling back disrupts that pattern. And here's the thing, humans crave predictability, but we're drawn to mystery. When you stop being so predictable, you become intriguing. You're no longer the person they thought they had figured out, and that's when curiosity starts to creep in. Space also gives her the opportunity to see what life feels like without you in it. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes people need to experience the absence of someone to truly appreciate their presence. If you're constantly there, constantly available, she might not even realize what you bring to the table. But when you're gone, when your texts stop coming and your voice is no longer there to comfort her, that's when she'll start to notice the difference. And that difference can be a wake-up call, a reminder of the value you brought to her life. Finally, giving her space sets a precedent for the kind of relationships you want to have in the future, whether it's with her or with someone else. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, independence, and boundaries. By stepping back, you're showing that you're not afraid to let go when necessary. You're demonstrating that you're strong enough to stand on your own, that you don't need constant validation, and that you respect her process as much as your own. This isn't just a temporary tactic. It's a life lesson that will serve you well in every relationship moving forward. Respect for her autonomy, her individuality, and her ability to figure things out on her own. You're saying, I trust you to handle this without me hovering. That trust is powerful. It shows her that you're not someone who needs to control the narrative or the outcome, but someone who understands that love and respect aren't about possession. It's about creating a dynamic where both people feel free, yet valued. And when she feels that freedom, it deepens her respect for you in ways that words alone never could. Another fascinating thing about giving her space is how it allows her to reflect on what you mean to her. When you're always present, the noise of everyday interactions can sometimes drown out the deeper feelings. But when you step back, it's like turning the volume down on everything else, forcing her to tune into her emotions. Without you there, she has the time and mental space to realize what she misses, what she values, and what she might have taken for granted. It's in this quiet absence that some of the most profound realizations occur. This approach also creates a sense of emotional safety. By stepping back, you're showing her that you're not going to push, rush, or pressure her into making decisions or having conversations she's not ready for. This patience speaks volumes. It tells her you're someone who understands the ebb and flow of emotions, someone who values her enough to let her process things on her own terms. Emotional safety is one of the most underrated aspects of a strong connection, and your ability to provide it through space will set you apart. Moreover, giving her space isn't just about waiting. It's about actively investing in yourself during that time. This is where the real superpower kicks in. Instead of sitting around wondering what she's thinking, you're hitting the gym, learning a new skill, pursuing your passions, and building the best version of yourself. When you focus on your growth, you're not only distracting yourself from overthinking, but you're also creating a more attractive, dynamic version of yourself. This energy shift is magnetic. When she sees you thriving, it becomes clear that your world doesn't revolve around her. And that's intriguing. Lastly, let's talk about the ripple effect of this mindset. Giving her space isn't just about this one relationship. It's a philosophy that will transform how you approach all aspects of your life. It teaches you patience, resilience, and self-respect. It shows you that sometimes stepping back can move you forward. Whether it leads to her coming back into your life with a newfound appreciation or helps you find someone who values you from the start, the outcome is always a win. Because at the end of the day, your superpower isn't just about giving her space. It's about knowing your worth, trusting the process, and having the strength to let go when necessary. When you give her space, you're also tapping into an underrated aspect of attraction: mystery. Think about it. When you're constantly in someone's face, they get a full view of you, your thoughts, your habits, and your routines. But when you step back, you create a little room for curiosity. She starts to wonder, what's he up to? How's he handling things without me around? That little bit of distance adds layers to the dynamic, making her see you in a new light. You become less predictable, and in turn, more intriguing. This mystery ties into a concept that's crucial in any relationship: balance. By giving her space, you're ensuring that things don't become one-sided or suffocating. You're showing her that you're confident enough to allow room for both of you to breathe. Relationships are like dancing. You need closeness to feel connected, but also space to move freely. When you master that rhythm, you create a dynamic that feels natural and sustainable. It's not about clinging to her or pulling away entirely. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to let her have her moment. Another beautiful thing about giving her space is how it can bring clarity to both of you. Space allows you to reflect as well. Are you both aligned in your values, goals, and the way you communicate? Is this relationship truly what you want? Or are you just holding on out of fear of letting go? When you take a step back, you're not just giving her time to think, you're giving yourself the same gift. Sometimes, the answers you find in those quiet moments can be just as enlightening as hers. Let's not forget how giving her space also sets a standard for the relationship. By stepping back with confidence, you're communicating, I don't need constant validation to know my worth. That energy is contagious. It teaches her how to treat you and reminds her that you're someone with boundaries, someone who won't sacrifice their dignity to force a connection. And when she feels your self-assuredness, it creates a dynamic built on mutual respect rather than dependency. It's a foundation that can weather any storm. Finally, there's something deeply empowering about mastering the art of giving space. It's a sign of emotional maturity, of knowing when to step back rather than letting insecurities take over. It's about playing the long game, trusting that if the connection is real, it will only grow stronger with time. Whether she comes back with a renewed appreciation for what you share, or you move forward with a clearer understanding of what you need, the act of giving space ensures that you're acting from a place of strength, not fear. That's what makes it a superpower. It's not about her. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of the outcome.